Hey everyone, welcome back to another 31-minute podcast. Steve-O,
Yeah.
thanks for coming back in again
No
today.
problem.
And I've got Lisa over here sitting in the background, your beautiful wife. I guess people ask me all the time. I even got a question today or things today coming through about people saying, "Oh, I want to ask him this. I wish I had a friend like Steve," and all this sort of stuff. Which is true, so I appreciate your time on this because it's been valuable for people. But there's other stuff I want to ask you about you and business and success and all that sort of stuff. Can we just start on one of the comments that on your last podcast, someone was asking about the interest?
Yes.
Yes. Can you clarify what they were asking?
Yeah.
And then can you simplify it for the masses?
So the question was that I'd missed the point that $500,000 worth of interest would be payable over the term. And I think I hadn't missed it. It's just I didn't elaborate on it. The fact is that you have to understand that in business or in property, your partner is the bank. In business, you have partners. You grow by people succeeding. We're not a communist country. We don't succeed by pushing wages down.
We're on our way to the communist country. Anyway, that's another conversation.
We don't succeed by making sure we win and the other person fails. We win by both parties winning. And with a bank, they have to be paid their interest. That's pretty simple, but they're your partner in this business. I'll give a real life example because it was my daughter's apartment. So she bought a property. I guaranteed it in off the plan 2014. Okay.
So when she buys it, is it 20%, 10%, 5%?
I'll go through all that. So she didn't want to do it. Didn't have the money, couldn't afford it. So this is a real life example, and this is for Jackson to understand, for everyone to understand, because this is real. I don't want to do this, can't afford it. How am I going to find the deposit? It's not going to work. Okay.
Is that what she was saying?
Yep. Okay, we're doing it.
Did you make her buy it?
Yep.
Yeah, you sort of said, no, you're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it. So 2014, she bought this property off the plan and she had the $23,000 for stamp duty, let's call it.
And the deposit?
No deposit.
Just
because off the plan.
Oh,
so $5,000. $5,000 deposit, but she was going to have to come up with the deposit.
Right.
She was going to have to come up with a deposit.
When you say $5,000, what for the deposit?
Yeah, just a holding deposit for the property, right? And so then she had the $25,000 to pay the stamp duty. The property was ready for sale, from memory, ready to settle 2017. The bank, at the time I was dealing with NAB, the bank valued the property, and they'll generally take the lower of the two, contract or valuation. If they like you, they'll take the higher of the two. So in this instance, it was $620,000. It valued up at, for memory, $670, $675 was the val.
Is this as she bought it or down the track a little
Settlement.
bit? Oh, settlement. So quite a ways down the track.
3 years.
3 years.
So off the plan.
Yeah.
Bought off the plan. Absolute raw. In 2014. 2017 is ready to settle. Built, finished, ready to settle. 2017 they did the val. It valued up about 10% higher than the purchase price. The deposit from the bank required was 10%. No money in required. So there was literally no money required in order to purchase that property. So the entire $620 was borrowed. The strata fees, these are for memory, but they'll be pretty right. The strata fees are about $3,600 for the year. The interest on a rolling average of 3.5% over that term, because interest rates were higher, they dropped off, and I sort of could see that they were going to fall away, so they never got locked in. We just rolled. So at 3.5%, it's $1,900 a month. So that's roughly $23,000 a year in interest cost and strata levies.
As you can tell, I'm no help adding this up.
Yeah. The rent was $30,000 a year, so there was a $7,000 income per annum. So don't really worry about that. But there was $7,000 in income per annum. It just got sold because she wants to buy something better, and it sold for $990,000 4 years later. So remembering she
bought for $620,
$620,
$670
with no money in, with no money in.
$7,000
Yeah, so just call that nothing, or
Yeah.
there was 40 grand in it
Yeah.
over the term, like 40 grand in your pocket or 30 grand in your pocket. But just even if you discount that out, profit is $370,000, right? Interest, sure, paid all the way along would be 90 grand. 3.5% would be $87,000, right? Of interest was paid. Now that had to be paid. That's fair and reasonable that the bank has to be paid their interest. But the tenant had to live somewhere and they've paid that. So now, remembering the return on her equity now, her equity was 25,000 or 24,000, whatever stamp duty was, is 14 times your money. 14.8 times your money, 14.9 times your money.
Okay. So break that down for me.
So she's returned over 4 years 14 times her investment because it cost no money. It cost her nothing on the way through.
Right.
There were tenants there the whole time.
Gone up in value.
It's gone up in value.
Yeah.
So my point is that when someone says you've had to pay, interest, it would have been better to pay it off. It's not, because it's the opportunity cost of the other money you have.
Right.
So what else can I do? So if this is costing me no money, right? So that was costing no money. Didn't even have to think about it. The other money she had in the bank, she could then invest in shares because she knows shares, and that's her what she does now. She
That's what
works
she does
in
as well.
London, and so she knows the space, and so she was able to make money on the money rather than paying the debt down. Now, had she have paid the debt down by $200,000, if she had 200, I don't know how much she had in the bank, but let's just say it wouldn't have changed anything. It just would have been a poorer return on her equity. See, so I see you sit there, look at me going,
Like poorer
how
return
is
on
it?
her equity.
No, but you're thinking, how is it not better to have put money in? Because it's not.
Well, she didn't need to.
She didn't need to. But you see, her equity then disappears.
Right.
Her equity, the money that she puts in to reduce that debt, has saved a little bit of interest, but she's paid no interest really because the tenant has paid it. So I think the danger of that mentality, it's not so much saying how much interest the bank is going to charge you.
Yeah.
It's more the danger of that mentality I see is that that's nearly programming into someone that it's not fair that someone else makes money because they shouldn't. And I think that would flow into other things in your life if you have that attitude. So for me, I'm happy to pay the bank interest, happy to let them make money. I'm happy to go into
You get to
business.
use the money.
Yeah, but I'm also happy to go into business and the other person make money as well because we both make money. So I think that it's more than just thinking about the bank interest.
So can I go over a couple of things just that you've spoken about on the other ones? And there's a whole lot of information. I think everyone should listen to every podcast of yours because it's like, life-changing. Jackson sits here, you're changing his life. Jordan, changing his life. He's on the phone to me this morning saying, mate, I can't believe it. Steve's done this. You've totally changed his thinking. And I think sometimes, John McGrath quite often says, words change lives.
Yeah.
He says, it's a saying he uses a lot. And it's true. Your words are changing lives, including my own. I'm like, how am I thinking about that way? That doesn't mean I'm going to go out and get a whole lot of debt.
No, but
because
you don't
I
want
just
to.
don't like it. But it's like,
But also, that's the other thing that particular person who said it. If they don't feel comfortable with it, just don't do it.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, just don't do it because
totally.
it's not for you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when people say it's oversimplified, it should be simple.
Yeah.
It should be just simple. But if in your head it's so complicated, don't do it.
and plus I'm at a different stage in life where I'm pretty relatively set up.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I've sent you the list of the things
Yeah,
I'm still shooting for. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you think about those? And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Just a different order.
Yeah.
So
And you'll get all of them. Like,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. They're big, but every single one of them are going to happen.
yeah, like you
Not
and I,
maybe, yeah.
we're working on something
Yeah.
now that's I think it's going to be a very great thing.
So do I.
Let's just see how we go.
Yeah.
So can I break a few things down?
Yeah.
So if you're a young person
Mm-hmm.
and you're listening to this and you're 22 years old and you have $5,000 in the bank, and I know you've talked about this stuff, but I do want to touch on a few key points because you got $5,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
What do you do? So you're renting a place. What do you do? $5,000 in the bank.
Do you have a job?
You got a job. You're earning $80,000 a year.
You're doing all right then.
Yeah. What do you do?
Well, then you should have more than $5,000 in the bank.
Well,
so what that
let's say
means?
you're earning $50,000 a year. just
See, there's breaking point with income.
Yeah.
There's living expense, there's cost of living,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's breaking point. So all of a sudden you get to the point where there's, 10,000 in miscellaneous, which you can start putting away. So the first thing you have to do is get that income to a level where you're beyond that breaking point.
Okay.
So
Which would be, talk us through it.
I think
Talk us through it.
okay, so I think
So you're saying up your skill set, or
Up
get
your
another
skill
job,
set.
or get
Up your-
another
up-
get another income from somewhere. So
Up-
let's say you're working for the council,
Mm.
and you're on a fixed income of $65,000 a year.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you start like finding where your interest is and how do you generate another income, or would you get another job, or would you just look at how you get promoted at your own job? Like, I really want to.
Okay, so if that was the example, if that's a real example, and the person is working at the council and loves the council, I would say that you would do the very best you can within your job, and people will notice it, and you will get promoted. That's an absolute, and that's just sounds so obvious, but people seem to lose sight of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the very best you can at what you do, and people notice those steps.
Yep. So if you're just let me step through this.
Yep.
So if you're doing something that you like,
Yep.
you want to value add yourself.
Value add yourself.
So your income over time will start to go up.
Yep. And don't,
Or if
the
you're-
big key there is don't do that incremental change or those extra little bits for $10 an hour. Do them for zero.
Yeah.
Meaning
just be good
Just
at it.
be good at it, because the next promotion will be bigger than you asked for.
Yeah. So yep.
So that's there.
So become the person that's going to get the promote. And
Yep.
then, but what if you're doing a job that you sort of half like, but it's not your passion? What would you do then?
I would pursue keep the work, because you need income.
Yeah, you need income,
Everyone's
yeah.
got to have the income coming in, so you've got to have the money coming in, and I would then the passion would be the game time. The passion would be the Nintendo time, where you're normally playing around doing
Yeah.
something else.
So
that
build
would be the
your
thing.
other thing over here.
Yeah.
So if
So for example,
photography,
photography,
that's what you
getting
wanna be,
getting fit.
getting fit.
Getting fit.
Yeah.
Like so you love getting fit, right? Now, but your job's average and you don't really like it, and you're getting there at 9 to 5 and you're just doing it because the hard thing about that is that if someone tends to have that attitude about their job, they'll actually do half a job at everything. That's the problem. So the reality is that you just don't do the job, or change your mindset.
Or slowly look. Yeah. Okay.
Change your mindset, because you can't go through life thinking, like, I really enjoy what I do. You
Same.
enjoy what you do, right?
Hey, we're on the phone from
Yeah.
5 in the morning
Yeah.
till,
Yeah.
well, I go to bed at 8
Yeah.
at night, and I know when you text me after that, I don't answer because I'm asleep,
Yeah.
but that's there in the morning.
I think
But
he's gone to sleep.
we genuinely enjoy,
Yeah.
I'm like, how you talk about your deals you're doing,
Yeah.
or, so I've rung you and you've been like, mate, I can't talk to you. Like, I'm just managing the disaster of all disaster deals. I remember a couple of months ago, you were like, mate, a lot of money, I've got to go and get it back, whatever it was. But like, it's part of the game, isn't it?
But I enjoy that.
Yeah,
it's
I
not,
know. That's
it's
what I
not
mean.
like I'm sitting
Yeah.
there going, "Oh, I hate this." I go, "Phew, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
How do I
solve it?
do that? And how do I think that through?" And in that instance, that particular case, it was literally get on a plane the next day
Yeah.
and meet the guy,
And go and
not
sort it out.
have lawyers,
Yeah.
not have lawyers at 30 paces. It was, I'm going to meet you,
Yeah.
and we're going to sit down,
Yeah.
and we're going to solve it now. And in that instance, I'd say he had a lawyer there, and I said, no, we don't need you.
Yeah.
We're deciding,
Yeah.
and we fixed it, right? So the answer
go-
is, but
go back-
if you didn't love what you're doing,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do that. You'd listen to someone else, and you'd take the lawyer's advice,
Yeah.
and the lawyer would tell you to do this. So I think breaking it back to the
Can I use another example?
Mm.
School teacher.
yeah, that's a good
So
example.
let's say, they go to uni for 4,
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
6 years,
But they
whatever
love
it is.
it.
They
And
love
do a
it.
great job.
They've angled their life to inspire kids. Like I know a school teacher, Dale Massey. She taught my kids at high school, most of them, I think. And then I spoke to her yesterday. Her partner just died a few weeks ago. She went back to school this week, or just holidays now, just a few days. She goes, Matt, my tanks are becoming full again because I'm with my kids.
Yeah.
She goes, I just love them. They just give me so much energy. So let's talk about that scenario. So let's say you're a school teacher on, I don't know how much you get paid, $85,000 a year, but you enjoy wealth. You want to build some wealth for yourself, but you love teaching. So you can't exactly get a lot of promotions in teaching, can you?
No. So I think
What would you do there?
I think for me anyway, the answer would be that and I said this to Jordan, have the where you want to go. Like really have where you want to go, because the problem with, let's say, for example, the school teacher, it's a tough job, right? You're dealing with kids, you know, it's tough. So if they don't keep the eye on the prize, time will slip away and they'll keep going back to being busy, doing the mundane in life, let's say, then being a school teacher because they're busy with the kids and with that. Not mundane, but, you know, not if they want to build wealth, right? But
they could be, what you're saying, they could be super busy, but their income doesn't change.
That income doesn't change. So in that instance, for me, and this is what I really do, is I throw away, and I shouldn't say the mundane, but the things that are not going to propel me forward, I just don't sort of focus on very much at all. I really don't focus on very much at all. So in the instance of the school teacher,
what would your wealth strategy be if you're
for that person?
If you're a school teacher, what would your wealth strategy be?
So if I was a school teacher and I just love being a school teacher, and I was depends on if I was a physical education teacher.
Yeah, I'll just say a maths teacher.
Okay, if I was a maths teacher,
what would be? But that's what you wanted to do. That's where you wanted to spend most of your time. How would you become financially independent?
I'd actually pursue something that I loved in math, and find. That's what I'm saying. Have your eye on the goal. So I'd find a way, and you will find the way if you've got the goal. If you keep reminding yourself of, you'll find the next step.
Let me.
So okay,
let me say the goal is to generate $200,000 a year passive income at some point in their life. What would you do? And that's all they were happy to do. They were just happy to go to school and fulfill their career.
Safest way to do it is, again, just property.
Yeah.
Just buying real estate, and again having so again, break down that math. They're on 80 grand a year, let's say, and so they can only buy one property that's going to be, 500 grand. That they've got to have a situation where they just get that rental income in, and you've just got to wait. Time will do it for you, and the market does it for you.
So their goal would be to buy two properties.
And then sell one to pay them off, and then the income becomes their own income. I mean, that's one strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, the other strategy would be if they're a math teacher and they really love math and they're looking at how, crypto works, or how, if they've got a bent for looking at things, again, you're going to get no reward from it. But if they're not going to be a silly person, they're going to be quite intelligent.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
They're going to be able to work out, the steps along the way. And if they really back themselves into something, that really works, there's no reason that if they know it.
Like a business?
No. I'm talking like a crypto style currency.
Or, okay.
I'm talking if they had a bent for that. Just finding one thing,
and
not 10
absorbing
things.
yourself in mastering it. So whether it's buying a few properties,
but that's easier said than done. About the crypto, the property's easy because you've got so many partners that help you. The population help you because they buy them. The banks help you because they fund it. The government helps you because they want properties to keep on going up in value.
So thank you.
You've got so many partners. Is the key.
Okay, can you open the back doors a little bit, get a little bit of airflow? But why do people see financial planners? Like, because what you're saying, and look, I know you're not on this to give financial advice, but I've met a lot of people in money.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people. And for some reason, you just are like, I don't know, you're like real.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just a specialist. Like, it's just... Yeah, there's no rubbish with you.
No,
right?
So because I'd like to keep it simple. I mean, for me, in my head, I want it. Otherwise, you get bogged down in everything you do, and I just want it simple. I keep it simple. To me, for me, it's just simple. I keep it simple in my head. So when someone asks me about a really complex way to do things, I don't want to.
So why do people go and see financial planners? Why do people say, I've got, Matt, I've sold my house? Because I get the calls all the time. I've called you a number of times.
Yeah.
Who would you use? So, because I'm hearing you say, find something you love, follow it, or know it. But when you go to a financial planner, you go, here's, $1 million.
Generally, I'd give you the general reason for that.
Because I'm trying to understand it, because I have no opinion on it.
Okay. Generally, it's a husband and wife situation. right? And it's third-party recommendation. The husband says, I want to go and buy this, and the wife goes, that's too dangerous. No, I want to do that. So the two of them can't decide. They need a third party to arbitrate. That's what I believe it is. And then they're both on the same page. They walk out going, that was brilliant. Or they could have actually come to the decision themselves, but I think that it's probably very hard for them to come to the decision themselves because they're going to butt heads.
Because one of the reasons I asked, and that's true, I'm sure that would happen a lot. One of the reasons I asked when they go to a financial planner, what I hear, I've never used one, but when I hear people go to them, they say, I've got some BHP shares, I've got some crypto, I've got my guy said to go and buy a unit in Queensland, I've got this. And that's totally opposite of what you're saying.
Okay, when you go to the doctor
yeah,
and the doctor prescribes you antibiotics, and then you say to the doctor, what do you actually do? And he goes, oh, man, I just steam my head with, boiling water with salt in it. Well, why are you giving me antibiotics? Because that's what everybody wants. So diversification is what people want. They want to hear that they're not all in one thing, because you got to understand the person who has a relatively small amount of money to invest, it's all that they've been able to put aside, and they'll watch it. And if it drops by 10%, they're not going to buy it again. They're not going to dollar cost average in. They're just going to be in a panic and probably sell out, which is why we see markets do what they do. Right. So they diversify. Simply,
is diversification good or not? Because everything you're saying is opposite.
Really. Not really, because you don't understand it. You can't understand 10 things. You can't understand them really well. I think that it's relatively simple for someone to... the reason I keep harping on real estate is because there's so many people who help you. There's you who see it every day. So the person comes to you and says, oh, I'm looking to... But you'd go, like, you're a genuine person. You're you are what you see, right? And I'm not just saying you are. No, you're what you see. And you'll say, no, I wouldn't buy that. That's the way you do it, right? So I think anyone who... that's the benefit of having a good agent. Now, the benefit of having a good banker will go, no, you can't afford it.
So would you use a financial advisor? And I know you have a lot of friends in this field. I don't, I'm not trying to trap you. Would you use one?
It's a bit different. I don't, it's not, it's a little bit different.
I don't know. But I don't know what... The general person, should they be using one? Like as in, that's
well, I think
broad.
under that...
Let me say, when they use one or when they go and see one, what should they be asking? That's probably a better way to...
I think that a good financial planner will definitely do that. They'll fix the husband and wife dilemma. Right. They will definitely put them on the right track. They'll definitely be the arbitrator who says, no, I wouldn't be buying a pub if you don't know. What's your experience? I've drunk a lot of beer.
Yeah.
No, pubs are not for you, mate. No. Yep. So, it fixes that. So you can't say one size fits all. Okay. I actually think that, in those instances, it's probably beneficial that they go and see a financial advisor who's not just, it's not like it's a doctor that they're going to see to fix their marital woes. Yeah. It's more someone who actually has experience and goes, no, that market's a problem.
So should you be looking for wealthy financial advisors? Because some people I know have done financial planning courses. They've got no money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they go and advise people on where to put wealth. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah, you've got to deal with someone who's done it themselves. You've got to deal with someone who...
How do they know though? What do they say? Can you show me?
You go to
how wealthy you are.
I think the answer is you've got to go to a bigger firm. I find it. I think the much smaller one-man bands are probably a little bit hard to, because I don't know enough of them. The only guys that I know, they're good operators. And they run big businesses and they specialists, and they won't. They'll give the conservative approach to the conservative person. They'll give here's some risk if you want some risk, and here's the upside, but here's the downside. So they'll give people the right choices to make. And I think you've got to understand that whether they be a school teacher or worked at the council or whatever, they've just done that all their life. So I can sit here and say, here's what I'd do, but that's not what someone else would do, because they'll panic about it. And we've spoken about this many times before. They'll look at it and they'll see it's gone down.
You've told me.
Yeah.
You've said to me, I've said, because you go, got a lot of Ethereum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you buy Ethereum. You go, well, you don't understand it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So
Because what had happened there is, and that's the prime example. I say to you, buy this, and then it goes down. You ring me and go, should I stay in? I go, yeah. And then rather than it being a chat, you got the dirts with me. What's happened? No, I'm serious.
True.
So then you think, oh, it's halved. What's he done to me?
Yeah.
And then I'm feeling bad that I've told you. So the answer is no, don't do it. Don't do it.
What's your wealth strategy? What's your wealth strategy? Like where you sit today. I mean, I know it's different than where you're at and a lot of people, but what are you doing?
You know what I'm doing.
I know, but but I know you.
Exactly
But people watching us don't.
I'm growing my business.
Yeah.
And my
So is that your main source of like income, wealth?
So my strategy is relatively simple.
Is that where you spend all your time? Like that's what I'm asking. Like
okay, so my strategy is relatively simple. It's income first. So it's growing my debt business, and that's growing all the time. And I've just that I've just done another deal in that space, and what that's going to grow to, and you even know who it's with, and he's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah. Michael is coming on soon.
And then you and I doing something together.
Yeah,
that's going to be pretty big and pretty special. And I've got another business in the online space, which I don't quite know what I'm going to do there, but I've been offered an amount of money for it that I don't want to sell it because I think if someone else will pay me for it, then I can do something better with that, and it's not costing me anything. And I've got a lot of domains all around the world that I can. So for me, it's income first. It's business as an income first, and then buying property with the income that's generated. So
do you
it's
like
really
property?
simple. Yeah, I do.
Do you like? Yeah.
I actually really enjoy it.
Do you buy and hold,
Yeah.
or buy and hold and sell sometimes? Or
I've sold that apartment I just told you about,
Yeah.
which was my daughter's, and she's got the money, and because she's buying something else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So do you hold everything else?
Yeah, I try. Yeah, I try not to sort of sell anything.
And you said the other day, which I'm only said myself recently, but never buy a car with a loan.
I don't.
I know you don't, but I'm never going to ever again because it doesn't make sense to me anymore.
No,
like
because I prefer to buy a car that I can afford than something that I think I can afford. So I think too many people, as I said to Jordan,
so why do people do it?
Well, they
look good.
Okay, it's again, that's a very good question, and that is, why do you want it? Like, why do you want it? Do you want it to show someone else, or do you want it because you're just going to put it in the garage and never bring it out and show yourself? Now, they're two very different things. So the problem is most people want it to show someone else and to show the success they've had, because not everyone sees where you live, but everyone sees what you drive, right? And so they drive a nice car and they think people assume that's success. The problem is that nice car is generally financed and they've bought it for someone else. For me...
Because they all feel the same after 12 months, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, certain cars, cars are better than other cars, and you do feel good about driving them.
Usually
you feel
it wears
in the
off
car.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered about cars, like how, let's say you spent $200,000 on, I did that when I was like 28 years old, bought a E500 Merc, could not afford it. I don't know why I did it. And for that, so people go, oh, that's success. But then it's worth nothing.
It's worth nothing, yeah.
It was worth zero, like over a few years, but then you're paying all this interest. So it goes down in price. You're paying all this interest because I think with car loans you pay the interest first, don't you? Like the first couple of years or something.
Yeah, well, basically they'll loan you the whole lot, and then you've just got a balloon at the end.
And the balloon,
So
then you get to the end, and you're like, I've got more.
Yeah, it's technically like capitalising the interest in effect.
Yeah.
You're given all the money, and then you start paying the interest on all the money rather than any upfront cost.
Yeah.
And again, that's the prime example.
Do you think that would be one of the up there mistakes with people?
Huge, because the thing about what you've just said is that the people that you're impressing with their E500, they're not around now.
No,
they're not clients that have helped you now. Nothing. It's nothing that's helped you now. So it's like it's a short-term hit. You talk about alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like a short-term hit of people saying, "Oh, look at how you're doing." Now the problem is the reality of the person who's looking up to that. If you want to be honest about it, the person who's looking up to that, they're not someone you're prospecting to. The person you're prospecting to doesn't actually care that you've got a E500.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. As a matter of fact, the guy you're prospecting to, you turn up in the really flash car, he goes, "Really? That's a waste of money."
Yeah. You're so right. Like when I pulled up to 2 appointments one day in an old ute. It was a work ute. The one ute I gave Jordan, and Gary Teak he's a billionaire and he's the Teak family in Sydney. He walked out and said, "Oh, what a great car. I love it. It's like a 25-year-old Hilux that I got off an old mechanic. It was like mint condition.
Yeah,
it's great."
right.
And then
I'd think that's cool too.
Yeah, and then I went to that, like from him, I went to another appointment, and this guy owns hundreds of acres out at Windsor, like super, all subdividable.
Yeah.
And he just drives a Jeep around, and he when I pulled up, his name's Dino. Dino goes, "Man, I love the car. It's fantastic." Like looking at it, I was like, "Yeah, so you're right. Exactly what you're saying. Those guys could buy 1 million cars, but they actually admired the."
Well, the other thing they'll admire as well is that old car clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your shoes. It's like your shoes.
Yeah,
dirty shoes. What does that say about you?
Yeah,
turn
exactly
up to an appointment and people look at your shoes.
What other success tips have you got for people listening to this? So we've talked about, like, you know, just getting ahead, slow and steady by the sounds of it. Like
slow and steady. I think
I
think the answer is getting back to the car thing. I think that getting that out of your mindset is a really good thing. You know, to think, okay, well, what can I do with that money that's more productive than the car? And don't kid yourself with, I'm going to use the $100,000 that I'm leasing this car with, because you don't have the $100,000. You know, so the answer is live within your means, because people see it, and the people who, again, you've just said it, that you're going to be dealing with and are going to get you ahead, because we are our 5 closest friends and 5 closest associates, are the people that are going to appreciate you being real. They're not going to the person who appreciates you for the flash car. They're not going to. They're going to want to hang on to you. They become a drain. You know. So you don't need them. You need to move up, prospect up.
So do you look at money as, how do you make it work for you? Is that
always.
Is that how you're seeing money? That's what I'm getting out of this.
Always.
You look at money like almost as it's
just a tool.
Like something in your life that you use. Not necessarily accumulate, like you more like, because I'm a bit of a, like, let's put it in the bank type of guy, and let's pay everything off so no one can come and, you know, take it away from me. Probably, I don't know, it must come from when I was like on the streets. I don't really know, but
maybe when you were collecting.
Yeah. That would have gone straight on drugs. Yeah. But like you see it as,
it's a tool. It is, but it's not how I see it. It's what it is.
What it is.
It's not. It's not.
But
a
it's
trick.
obviously it's a mindset around it, because I go, here's $20, put it over here, and just put it there like a chipmunk. That's what I do. But you go, here's $20. Let's turn that into 50 over here.
Yeah, but I sort of do that in that
bit of both. Do you?
Yeah. Well, I've got
turn
a rule
here,
in that. I think I said to you the other day, if someone were to ever rob me and need my ATM card, they'd be very disappointed, because I can't get to any money. Like, I don't give myself any money. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I literally don't see it.
So do you pay yourself first, or do you just put chunks over? Like, how do you have your money? Like, where do you put your cash? How do you have your money? So let's say you got $1 million in. What would you do with it?
Try and find something for it.
Yeah, but that's fine. I know that. But can you
lend it? I lend it.
But do you put it in the bank? You said before you don't always just make it work for you. Like, do you put some in the bank? Do you put?
Yeah. I'll put money in the bank. Like, it comes in.
What do you keep in the bank normally? Like, what's a
that I can get to $1,000?
Yeah, I know that.
No, I'm telling you, that's what I get.
Yeah, but do you have like an operating account with 6 months? You said before. Like, do you have, like, you got your business account? You got your personal ATM, which has got
okay.
So any robbers don't take Steve's wallet, because there's nothing on his ATM.
Nothing on ATM.
But do you have like an emergency account that you keep over here? Like John McGrath does. John McGrath talks about an autonomy account. So he worked his way up to have $1 million in an account that he never touched.
Yeah.
And if everything went to crap, he's always got that over there.
Yep.
That he just put to the side. Would you recommend people do that sort of stuff? Have an account that you can't touch?
Depends how liquid what your investments are. So if your investments are extremely liquid, then I don't think you need to necessarily have cash sitting at bank like that.
Right.
But not most people don't have that opportunity. So my space is lending money. So I can sell the debt to someone if I need the money in, because they're good deals.
So if you get big chunks in, you're just like, where do I make it work then?
Yeah, but I no, okay. So
what if someone got
so I'll break that down. So I'll break that down, because I do this. So I put them away for specific things.
Okay.
So I do have multiple bank accounts, and money comes in, and it does go to different bank accounts for different purpose. So one is for that business.
So one's your working account?
There's multiple.
I know there's multiple.
There's
Let's
multiple
just say,
working accounts.
Just say one business.
No. But
So-
there's multiple working accounts.
Yeah.
So money comes in from. Start with one business. One business. So one business that I've got, money comes in that is from sales online that just I don't really have to look at, and they just come in, and the money comes into that bank account, and that business borrowed money to start it from one of my other companies. So as money comes in there, I pay back that loan. That loan,
which is to yourself.
It's a company.
Yeah.
So that company buys shares. So as this loan comes back, so I'm very diligent with that. I don't just say, oh, that's a good deal, I'll just buy it. I do manage that very specifically in my head. So this money that buys shares has to come from the repayment of that loan.
So why are you buying shares? Is that just the investment from that company? That's all that one does?
That's all it does. That's all it does.
What do you buy?
What have I got in there? I've got...
Is this like Ethereum or
No,
is this
no,
other,
that's
just
different.
other ones?
No, it's different.
What ones do you buy?
So I've got health care businesses. I've got shares in healthcare businesses. I've got shares in a mining company. I've got shares in...
So do you just pick a couple of them that you're interested in?
Yeah.
And you just follow those ones?
No, I know them.
Yeah.
I know them.
So when you're buying shares, you go, I'm buying lithium, that's what I'm buying. I understand that's companies. Like, is that what you look for?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of?
Yep.
And you just keep focusing on those ones.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if it's lithium, for example, where's the lithium market? Where's that going? Is battery technology changing? Is that going to keep going? So I keep checking.
Yeah. Okay.
I check what I'm doing to make sure I'm not just loading in.
That's what that one does. Keeps buying shares for you. Just keep loading in.
That particular company started buying shares when I bought shares in a company in healthcare when I was very young, and that has just sort of accumulated. So that's over there. So that's what that does.
Still now, just keeps going. Like you keep adding to it.
Yeah, I do.
The healthcare ones.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that. Then I've got, my other business, as money comes into another company that I have, any spare money in that's, I only expect to be getting 8 to 10% yield on my money. So I'll invest that money differently. So that will go into lending.
Okay.
Lending.
So that's where you lend money out to people.
My own.
Yeah,
so
your
I
own
have
money?
my own fund, but then I have my own money.
Just
that
so
I
people
invest
know,
in.
you actually have an investment fund where people, you have a whole lot of money that you lend out.
That's right.
Yes, just in case people didn't know.
Yeah.
So you have your own part of that you also lend.
Yeah, with clients.
Yep. So you're in the pool together with people. Yep.
I'm in. I
and
can't throw other people in and go, I'm not in this. I've got the life jacket up here, boys.
And what else?
And so then.
So where do you buy your property from? Is that just from a personal? Like when's the right time for you to do that? Because I know you own a number of properties.
Yeah.
So
some are in my personal name.
But do you just go, I've got this much in my personal account, so that's the time to buy a property, or do you just?
No.
What do you do there?
No, but that's a good question. No, because that comes back to Jordan's question about paying himself. No. If the deal comes up and the deal's good, I buy it. And then I say to the accountant, this is what I've done. Better fix it.
So it's more when
better
the
fix
right
that
deal is
distribution.
there.
Yeah, better fix that distribution.
But you know you can. You don't just willy-nilly go,
I know
it's
I
just
can.
how do you make it all work at that
How do I
point
make
in
it
time.
work?
Yeah.
But they won't all be in my name. So some I might buy in a company name. There's different structures that I'll have in property in order to be most tax effective and just to manage the structure that I've got for that particular deal most effectively. So yeah, some are in my name, some are in company name, some are, they're in different sort of vehicles, shall we say. But yeah, I won't, no, I don't sort of go, I've saved up this, because I know the cash flow that I've got. I know what's coming in of all of those sources. And that's something, I was talking to Jackson about it the other night. I spent 3 hours doing spreadsheets. 3 hours, after 12 o'clock one day.
Looking at where you're at.
Looking at everything. So I know where everything is, what's coming, what's going, what's this, where's that fund, where's that, what's happened. 3 hours. Now, my 3 hours are not, I'm going to go and get a coffee and I'll come back and I'll have a look out the window and I'll play on the internet. It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's in 25-minute blocks. I take 5 minutes off, 25-minute block, 5 minutes off, 25-minute block, 5 minutes off, 25-minute block. The 5 minutes off is literally walking around the office, looking at the window, back on it. And I don't have my phone on. I just concentrate on that thing. So I know what's coming, where it's going. And I think that's
Are you a spender or not a spender? Like, are you just self-rating? Like, are you because I know you like nice things, but it seems like a lot of things you buy are like investments, like your watches and your like they all seem like, because even when
they'll double in value.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, because you know you send me pictures of watches that are worth I don't know $100,000-$200,000 and more, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money. You go, no, it's an investment. So like it seems like you look at things like, as I know you reward yourself, you and Lisa, I know you both personally, but it's like it seems like you're always thinking, is it the right time to buy that? Like, is it? Or it's almost like a reward, or it's the right time. The next,
I try and make sure that the thing is not just wasteful, and I just
like an impulse. Yeah.
But by the same token, I don't. Like if I go on a holiday, I don't budget it.
Yeah.
No, but I'm serious. I don't.
No, I don't.
I don't. Sort of
I understand
think,
that,
I better stay at that place because that's $20 a night, and the taxi's going to cost. I don't. But no, I'm being serious. No, because
Oh, I know. I'm more. That watch. Watch you're wearing, right?
I am tight at other things.
Yeah, Well, I look at that watch and I'm like, what's that worth? I don't know, $200,000 or whatever, and it's probably more.
No,
around that.
120,000.
120,000. Okay, so I look at that and I go, when would be the right time that you would buy that?
You can't get one, so you got to take it when you can get it. But that only cost me retail price, $48,000.
Right. So again, you've made money on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's more when the deal is there, you go, yep, that's right, and provided the money's there. So young people credit cards, tell me about it. Yes, no.
I think that it's a necessity to get credit score. So I think it helps you pay them, have them, use them, pay them off, but don't pay the interest. You've got to pay them off. You've got to pay them off when they're due, but I think they're a good requirement because banks want to see your credit score, and if you
so is that like put something on there and then be able to pay it off before?
Buy things with it. Use your credit card to buy things and get it rolling and pay it off by the due date, and then So it's also I think if they've got a low credit limit, they're actually not a bad thing to teach people to be careful and go, well, I've only got $1,000 credit limit and I've spent my $1,000. That's it. I've got to pay the $1,000 off. Can't go and get another.
So if you don't have the money over here, put it on there. Like, is it like, because a lot of people get in trouble with credit cards. So are you saying
leave it? Me.
Yeah.
I have, and this is sometimes a problem. I've probably only got, I think I've got two credit cards. One's got a $6,000 limit and one's got a $9,000 limit because I don't need to put huge amounts. Now, that's a problem when you go overseas because you don't have the internet to pay your credit card off and you go to buy something, it's full because I just put an airfare on it, whatever. So it can be a problem, right? But I do that because it's just the way I do things. I just don't want to be... I just don't want to have a huge, $50,000 sitting on my credit card. I'd feel uncomfortable with it.
It's there. So have a $1,000 limit. Yeah. Get going. Don't use money unless you can pay it.
Yeah, you've got to be able to pay it off.
Do you like Afterpay?
I don't understand the benefit of that to the way credit cards work. I mean, a credit card will do that for you now. They'll let you pay off a relatively, if you have a purchase that's bigger than your norm, they'll let you pay it off over 4 installments. So I don't actually understand what the benefit is. I mean, you're still just paying it off, but I didn't. Yeah. It's not about that. It's more about the fact that I just don't, that sort of credit, I don't need, I don't get. I prefer to have the money, as we were talking about with a car. If I can't afford to buy one, I'll just buy a cheaper one. I just buy a cheaper one. So if I can't afford to, buy those clothes, I won't buy them.
What about property in other states and things? Like if you...
Victoria,
You like? So...
Undervalued.
If you're a novice investor, should you be looking around? Because I had an old guy say to me, buy where you can drive past.
Yeah, that's always... I
what's
really
your thoughts
adhere
on
to that rule, buy what you can drive past. But if you know the market, like for example, I'm in Melbourne every second week because I've got an office down there, and I'm down there a lot, and I do a lot down there, a lot of developments down there because it's a very different market in what's being built. So the zoning's a bit different down there. It's a little bit easier to get 4 townhouses built. So we've probably got realistically 30 projects in Melbourne right now. So I would think that it's I like it.
So do you think the mum and dad investors should be buying in other states, or is it dangerous?
No,
or?
If they know it. So if, for example, they used to live in Melbourne and they've got family in Melbourne.
Comes back to understanding it.
It's
Everything,
all that.
okay.
So if they've got family in Melbourne and they used to live there and they love Footscray, like Footscray I think is great. Maidstone I could tell you all the suburbs. I'm happy to tell the suburbs that I think are
You
great.
can see the passion in your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that in 10 years' time, we'll all look back and go, "Phew."
But if there's a seminar of someone selling units in far north Queensland and it's only $5,000 in, and you just steer away from all that
One of
stuff.
my mates, one of my good mates, who may listen to this, bought a place in Queensland and years ago, and it's worth the same today as he paid for it.
Yeah, I made the same mistake.
You know, it's just, I don't get it. You know, and again, why? If you've never been there, if you've only been there for a holiday, that's not enough reason, because that's when everyone else went to that particular place, right? Whether it be Townsville or whatever. You know, they've gone there once and you've gone there once. That's not a market. A market is, what is the infrastructure here? Who is coming in? Like Maroochydore, there's infrastructure. There's probably reason that that's going to go fairly well. Buderim up in the hills, we did a little subdivision up there, did really well. I think that's a lovely area because it's just out of town. There's no traffic, takes you 5 minutes, a lot of IT people. So you've got to know it. I know it. I literally didn't know it. So I flew up to Brisbane. I got in a hire car because I like to drive so I feel and touch it. I drove into Maroochydore. I drove up into Buderim. I drove all around. I spent 2 days, I think, just looking at the place. I drove back to the Gold Coast to see how far that actually was. So now I go, I get all this. I get it.
Yeah, not just willy-nilly.
Not just
I see a
willy-nilly.
picture on a screen and that looks pretty nice to me.
Yeah. So no, definitely not. But if you know the area, like I don't know Adelaide, right, at all. But if you have family in Adelaide and you really know Adelaide, and there's something that could potentially be a goer, and there's a subdivision being built nearby, and there's old houses, that's an investment. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you know it, and it's the 10,000 hour rule. You've lived there. You've grown up in it. Oh, I remember that. Oh, there's schools there. Oh, I know. So it's the knowledge base it's in the bank, right?
Yeah, it becomes a part of you.
It becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
But if you don't know it and someone's selling you on it, just don't do it. Just don't do it. They should be coming to you as an agent, asking you, not you telling them.
How old are you?
None of your business.
How old are you?
None of your business.
Come on.
50, 32.
None
of your
come
business.
on. No, let's put it in perspective. How old are you?
50.
50. If you had to give your 20-year-old self advice, what would you do?
Investments?
Just, I don't know, in general, getting ahead. What would you done differently? What would you
the easiest
same?
way? Well, I shouldn't say easy, but the easiest way that's
How old were you when you got in the money game?
No, only sort of realistically 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like hard into it, like as in me
doing
100%
what you're doing
into
now.
it.
Yeah.
Me lending into it longer than that, because I had other businesses that had made money, and that was me lending into the space.
Yeah.
But me going, I'm too far in this thing, I better be in. It was, about that time.
And you're just starting another venture with one of your close contacts as well, Michael.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about before we end this. I want to talk about a little bit of that. But yeah, so
what
if you had to give your 20-year-old self advice, how long have you and Lisa been together, by the way?
30 years.
30 years. Since 17. So you both met when you were how old? 9 years old. Oh my goodness. You've had to put up with him that long. I feel sorry for you.
Very nice.
Has Lisa been instrumental in your joint success?
Yeah.
Yep. And bouncing things around and yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well done. 20-year-old self, what would you do?
I think property. I really think property, because there's so many partners, shall we say, that are helping you.
Yeah.
The market helps you. You can keep on. The one thing I like about property is you can keep on doing your job, and it works for you while you're asleep.
So are you saying you would have got into a property as young as possible? And is that buy or invest?
Sorry,
is that buy or invest? Like when you say property?
Yeah.
Like
buy.
Buy to live in or invest?
To invest.
To invest first.
Yeah, to invest first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would have, again, like the car thing, bought things that were not that impressive.
I think Archie did a fluff. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Unless it was Steve.
No.
Yeah.
I think that the benefit of I would have bought, like the car, nothing that's going to impress anyone.
Yeah.
You know, because the more impressive the property is, the less it yields. So you've got to have that balancing act between yield and capital gain. If there's no yield, you can't pay for it. If there's too much yield, don't look at the deal. There's a problem. You know,
Okay.
so as soon as someone says, "Oh, this returns 8%," I don't even want the balance of the conversation, and I'd need to learn that back then.
So you would have got into it back then, and then anything else you've done? Anything else you would have done different?
Well, heaps of things I would have done differently.
Yeah.
Lots of things I would have done differently. But the benefit of the property thing, just getting back to that, is you can invest in it and do something else. You can actually have two streams.
Explain.
Sorry?
Explain.
Because the market looks after itself. So you can buy the small house or the small
So get in
apartment.
at all costs as early as possible. Is that what you're saying?
At all costs is a relative term.
Well,
I think the answer is
as quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible, and it can't be. I think you've got to give, if you're 20 years old, you've got to give yourself some other opportunities, right? So you can't be so stretched that you're earning 60 grand a year. It's your entire life. You can't do another single thing, and you can't leave your job because you're fearful of making the payments. You have to give yourself the opportunity to be able to say, you know what, there's a better opportunity and I'm stepping out of this job. This will stay. I can keep paying that. I've got enough put aside. I've got 3 months worth of interest, the shortfall. And the shortfall's never that much, even if there's a shortfall.
Yeah, no, it's not, is
if
it?
you're paying 4% and you're getting a 3% yield, there's 1% you've got to
Yeah.
find. So
That's a good point.
Yeah. So you literally just put, that's the other thing when you say, what do I put aside? You've only got to put aside the 1%. You've only got to put aside, not the 4%, just the 1%, right? So now now in your mind, you're comfortable.
I'm going to tell you quick, keep going on that stuff. You know, I just sold an investment property because I was like, it's just interest rates are changing. I don't have no need for it. Like, it's just my conservative nature. I want you to keep going here, but you're saying this. I'm like sitting here going,
How many times a week do we speak?
I actually sold 2 of them.
How many times a week do we speak and you do that?
And I was like, what if the tenant moved out and we're building this big house? And I'm like, it would make no difference to my life. I just get a new tenant. I don't know what I was thinking. Difference. And I said, no, just to sell it. I was like,
you know what? I know someone in real estate and I could have got your tenant. I'll ring up the property management department.
What I was thinking. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
So I think that you've got to put aside that 1% over here. And
that's a great point. So you've got to have 1%. Put aside enough for even 6 months. Like
6 months. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
How much? Do the maths for me. How much is that? Please. If it's like the rent's 500 coming in.
1% on, let's say, $1 million loan is 10 grand.
Right.
So the worst case you've got to put away, that's for the year.
It's nothing,
for the year.
So
now divide that by 12.
How much is that?
So you're back to $800 a month, $820 a month. Right. And you've got to put away 2 grand.
That's a great point.
So now you go. So that's why math is king.
Makes me feel better. Shouldn't have sold those properties.
Yeah. You should find someone that you can talk to. Yeah. So you just put away the 2 grand. Now you feel comfortable. That's in it, but not in your own account. Not in your account. You have a separate account. Open a separate account. Property management account. 2 grand.
Yeah.
Boom. Now I've got my living account and a property account. And then now you're giving yourself the bandwidth to be able to say, I think I've got a better opportunity in a job, or I want to go and do this.
So even if there's a gap, you can still manage it.
You can still manage it because you've put it there. Don't worry about it. And now you can go and do that. If you love your job.
That gives working a lot more meaning, doesn't it? Really? Because you're like, I'll put some in this bucket over here and I'll put some over this. And you're set.
And they're purposeful. Not just having a bucket for, like I hear people say, you need a spendings and a this and a that and a whatever and a whatever. It's just your money. That's just your money, right? Surely you can manage your life enough to put that in your account. But the real accounts you put aside are your investment accounts. And they're real money, not notional money, not I'm going to do this and I'm going to budget it in. No. It's real money. At the end of the month, you've been paid, you put it there. And then you put that there, and put that there, put that there. And then you go, I'm fine with that.
Because the great thing about what you're saying, which has just been a bit of a like, that makes total sense. Even if you're in a job you don't like at the moment, like just for now, just get good at it. Let's just be okay with it. But then you're like, I'm going to use this job, do the best I can, but I'm going to make my property management account grow. So if I didn't, if something else popped up and I wanted to pursue it, even if the wage was a little bit lower, but you love the job over here,
you're sweet over there.
You can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no. So I get so many people contacting me saying, I'm a builder, but I want to do real estate, but I can't. The wage is less, but if they did this, there would be no hassle.
No hassle. You have to come. I find you've got to compartmentalize your mind by compartmentalizing your money. And so now you don't. If you've only got so much. Someone said to me once, you've only got so much bandwidth, and if you're trying to do too much, you just take up too much bandwidth. So this makes it simple. You just go, that's fixed. That's now out of my mind. I don't have to think about it. Next, property number 2, let's say, there it is. That, again, I don't have to think about it. I'm not stressed thinking I can't move, I can't change. I did that in my early days. In my early days, I had kids at school, I had, and I thought I can't change what I'm doing because I need to pay these bills. It's only
car
now.
loan. If a car loan was in there as well, that could be going into property management.
Exactly.
If you drove a $10,000 car instead of a $100,000 car, you could put your money.
All those payments can go into putting that aside. And the thing is, it's not all of it. So you don't. So that's a good point. What a lot of people do is they think, I'll put away all of the payments from the car. I'll put away I don't even know what car payments would be. I could do the math, but let's say
$800 a month.
$800 a month. I'll put away the whole $800 a month, and I'll put it into this.
It might be more than that. It might be $1,500
let's
a month.
say whatever.
Yeah.
So let's say it's $1,000 a month. I'm going to put the whole $1,000 a month over here and punish myself and not buy a car. No, why? Because then what they'll do is they'll go, I'm not doing anything with that money, and I should have bought myself a car mentally. Right?
Yeah.
So the answer is have a purpose for it. So now know why you're driving the cheaper car, because there's a purpose over here. Not just I'm going to put it aside for nothing. Again, it comes back to have the plan. Where do I want to go and how am I going to get there? And then it makes it so much simpler to just keep getting on the phone or keep doing the things, because you see a purpose. Not just I'm going to punish myself and save this money for no purpose. Have a goal. And you'll work towards it, and then compartmentalize your money. So that's what I was saying to you. I do it. I don't have any money in my bank account. I don't. I can show you. I've probably got, I don't know, $5,000 in my bank account, because I don't. What do I need it for?
It's true.
I don't need it. It's like it's paper. It's just a mechanism to swap. I want food. I'll swap you for money.
Any other mistakes you have made?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That would change your life.
That will set yourself up. Even if you want a $200,000 car at some point down the track, you pay cash with it and it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back,
because so much will be coming in later.
Exactly. And back on that, the $200,000 car, when you do buy the $200,000 car, you've got to buy it for you. Never buy it for someone else. Yeah. And that's all part of this same scenario. But in your early days, you're buying things for someone else. You're buying things to show them, look how good I'm going. And in the race of, like Jordan said to me in the last podcast, what do I have to do to compete with you? Firstly, I expect him to be a lot better than me. So don't compete with me, because he'll back off too early. You compete with yourself, and then you won't stop. Then you'll be so much more successful. You'll be so much happier. Don't compete with anybody else, because who cares? I don't care what anybody thinks. I couldn't care less, because I'm just doing the best I can, and I can't do any better than what I do. I can't do any better. And if, I told you my volumes, right?
Yeah.
If I compared myself to other people in my space, I'd be pretty lazy. No, I'm being serious.
No, I understand.
I'd be pretty lazy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not lazy. I compete with myself. And so I set myself a benchmark, and then I try and better that benchmark. And I do it because that's a challenge for me, and I enjoy challenging myself. Now, to the detriment of that is that rather than getting up and training for an hour in the morning, I get up an hour early and go to the office an hour earlier.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Well, here you go. That's
That's
where
bad.
that's where I'm going to go now. So,
But one thing that I've learned from you,
yeah,
and you said this the other day, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it, and it was brilliant, and you don't even know you do it. You said, because you don't wake up with an alarm clock, you
Yeah.
said, I woke up late, so I didn't train. I went and did X, Y, and Z, then I trained.
yeah, because
So
I'll never
you
be in
s-
a rush.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. See, for me, my mindset is you have to get these things done in this order. That's my mindset. It's wrong. Yours is right, because that's so much more comforting to go, well, there's 24 hours in a day. I can still manage the time. It was only 20 minutes that I've slept in. I'll still get all those things done.
Yeah,
Where rather than going, how do I get the workout done? How do I ride my bike in 30 minutes? That's not even worthwhile. I won't do it. I'll go and do. Your mindset is so much better with that.
So your friend Michael, and you know, I've only spoke to him on the phone. I haven't
Yeah.
met him yet, but he stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And tell us a quick story.
So he was about him or about.
I just
I wasn't
he
going-
stopped.
yeah.
his
So
corporate
one of
world,
my mates. So he,
you know.
he stopped drinking completely. He started listening to. So he listened to our first podcast, and I thought he was going to give me a hard time, as friends do, and say, "What the hell?" And he went, "It's pretty good." And I said, "Oh, thanks, mate." And he said, "That Matt, I like what he says. I like that frequency stuff." And I said, "Yeah, well," I said, "I think that it's very right. I mean, I think my view is just that it's external and his is that it's internal, but they're still pointing at the same thing." And he said, yeah, that's interesting. He stopped drinking, literally stopped. Not,
He's a machine now.
yeah, not one, gets up at 4 every morning, trains of a night as well. Just a changed person, has just now wants to grow his business, just get back to thinking about, he's just got so much more time in his day because he's never got a hangover.
He's vibrating at a
He's
high
vibrating.
frequency.
So he gets up and he's ready to work. And so he's got so many hours in the day that he didn't know that he had before.
Have you stopped drinking yet?
No, I don't drink that much. I mean, I drink, like I had 2 glasses of wine
No, I
last
know.
night.
On the phone to me, you're like, "Yeah, I should really just kick it." And I'm like, "Yeah, you should."
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Have you or no?
Um,
Has he, Lisa? No. Yeah. Okay.
I don't sort of drink that much, I must say, but it's definitely better. I mean, the hard thing in my space is that in the early days, I'd go out with brokers every single Friday night, and you'd nearly think, I know I'm going to lose a Saturday.
Yeah.
But you
for
had
sure.
to do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you had to
Building
do it because
relationships,
that's it builds relationships. But you do lose a day.
Yeah.
It's dreadful, and you think that's a bust. But anyway, yeah. But he's doing brilliantly.
Last
brilliantly.
thing, number one success tip. Anything in life, if you had to give people one bit of advice outside of money, but
Time. I say it all the time.
What is
time
that?
management? Manage your time. Understand where your time goes. Understand what you're doing with it, and that if you want to get ahead, you can't waste your time. You have to just be diligent with it and manage it, because it will give you so much more of it. Time, that is, if you manage
so
the
true.
little bits.
It's really
so
well.
if you can start your day early and be productive and physically work, really work at it and get it done, you will have those blocks of time where you can sit there and do this other passion that you love and learn about property or learn about whatever it is. You'll have the bandwidth, you'll have the time to be able to do it. And I've said it 1,000 times, but you can be busy being retired. Anyone can be busy.
It's so true. Retired people, they say they're busier than ever, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well, when I say doing nothing, they're just doing other things. They just filled it in with other things.
They're filling it in.
Yeah.
And you do, I've got to get the dry cleaning. I've got to do this. I've got, you don't got to, you get to. That's another rule I've got. You don't got to do nothing. You get to do it.
Yeah.
You get to do it. Like, we get to live this life. We get to do it. That's so good, right? So don't say I got to.
Yeah.
I get to. Now, when you say I get to, all of a sudden you're a bit inspired about the thing you do. But you know what? If you say I get to take my dry cleaning, not that inspiring. So the get to, you got to enjoy the thing and enjoy the work, but you've got to manage the time. Time is key. And I think that most people just need to write it down and have a look. And have a look at what they've really done in the day, and they'll see that, oh, gee whiz, I really wasted that. I didn't get that much done. Just do one thing. I've got to do 50. You don't. You've just got to do one thing, but you've got to do it every day. Every single day, you've got to do one thing.
Great podcast. Thanks, Steve-O.
Thanks, mate.